Hey Scorpio, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. So take what works, leave what doesn't. Check your sun, moon, rising, and Venus if I don't catch your storyline on this one. And we're starting off with an intuitive vibe with my monster deck of Moonology and Work Your Light cards. And then we'll be moving to a more traditional spread with Golden Tarot, Renaissance, and medieval art collages. Then we'll see what happens after that, depending on how long I take. I've been really pokey, or I don't know, lots of these readings have been taking some time this week. Well, so let's see. Oh, here I'm complaining, and now you're like, okay, fine, you don't like my messages? No, I do. It's okay. I wasn't complaining, I was just noting. All right, what do we have here? Let me make sure I'm in focus. Hopefully that helped, because I felt like I wasn't. All right, for Scorpio, what do we have? Anything else? Just the one, huh? Well, it's a good one. Just the one? Anything else for Scorpio? No, nothing else for Scorpio. Fascinating. All right, so we just have one card for you. Full moon in Cancer. A personal issue reaches resolution. Can de-armor something coming to a head, to a close, the fullness of it being reached. I get a sense of a little bit of a tens card, like having completed some sort of cycle or having an ending come in here. Or, yeah, an ending, like a Ten of Swords, ending of a painful situation. But also, yeah, Ten of Wands too, maybe an ending of a burdensome situation, a difficulty. So a personal issue reaches resolution. Completion, emotional resolution, I think. I think we're talking about emotional, I almost want to say closure in a way, right? Closure. As much closure as we can get here. We always want the closure. I think also closure, we want to know, we want clarity, we want certainty on certain things and how they happened and if they were right. And if they weren't right, why? It's a rarity to receive that, but you may be receiving some sort of resolution or closure or clarity or understanding on something that needed to happen in a certain way. Personal issue reaches resolution. All right. So you have some unresolved issues, it sounds like, but it looks like there's going to be something good or some. I don't know if it's good, but there's something it's going to resolve. It'll be over. All right, for Scorpio. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's the issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. All right, in your recent past, you have the World. This is such an unusual World card here. Here the World is sort of protection as things go on. There's a sense of sanctuary. There's also divine messages coming in. A sense of sanctuary through the good and the bad. There's a sense of things changing, of the world changing. The World card is always, well, it is reaching resolution, major changes, something coming to a close here. It's big changes, it's big shifts, big changes, usually outside of our control. That's how I view the World card. It's something outside of our control. We may be protected during these changes. We're hopeful that we are. But the world is always changing. It's a new season. A season has changed in your life. It's a different time. It's a different era, a new epoch of your life, right? Big changes have occurred, have happened, major shifts. You have been protected through this. There are messages. Here, there's some sort of message. You've received some sort of message about a change or a shift. I feel like there's some sort of sense of predator, prey. Those sorts of things have changed and shifted. Those sorts of roles that we play in life may have changed and shifted for you. What was below is now on top. You know, the world changing and everything around it changing. So major shifts and changes in your lives, and it could be something closing out, coming to an end. In your current situation, we have Four of Swords. This is a break, taking a time out, resting and recuperating and regrouping for the next chapter of our life. So it looks like something's changed and ended here, and now you're sort of regrouping for the next chapter. What next? Because that part of my life is over. You have retired, you have an empty nest, you're no longer single, you're no longer childless, you're no longer going to be in that career at all, or you're no longer going to be working for a company you've worked for a long time, or something like that. Something's changed and you're in sort of a rest and recuperation period currently, or you will soon be if you aren't already. This could be a layoff from a job or just quitting a job, but it's time for rest and recuperation and regrouping. So resting is part of preparing. So it's just that pause between, I feel like the world here was some sort of exhale, and then we're pausing, and then we're getting ready for the inhale, right? Just that rhythm of life, of things ending, honored with a pause, new things beginning, right? So, and then in your inner landscape, you have this Justice card here, thinking about fairness, balance, injustice may be on your mind, some sort of unfairness, or maybe bringing balance to your life. Maybe wanting to set up your new situation that is more balanced, more fair, more, even it could be contemplating accessing the justice system. That could be something that's on your mind. You could be worried about the justice system because once we do access the justice system, so much is out of our hands. So you could be worried about accessing the justice system. You could be hopeful that you can seek justice. You'd like some sort of karmic scale to be balanced here. Maybe you've put a lot of energy into something and you'd like some of that to be returned to you and some energy to be put into you, to be invested into you. And maybe you've realized that in your situation, that investment is never going to come from elsewhere, but it's going to be coming from you. Like you have to almost reciprocate yourself, like what you would give to other people, giving to yourself, being fair to yourself, bringing some fairness and balance into a situation. Maybe the way something ended felt very unfair and you'd like some justice, maybe some retribution. Maybe you're worried about justice coming in because maybe you did wrong. I also want to go back to this Four of Swords. This could be feeling ill, feeling sick, feeling weakened. Either mentally for sure, because we've got the swords here, which are all about thoughts, ideas, and communication. There could be a pause in communication. You could be not talking to someone or not having any communication with somebody here. But it could also be an illness, a sickness, a forced rest, a forced break from something. Something major could have changed in your life, and then you're not in communication with the same people that you once were. This could be very confusing. You might be wondering why. Is that fair, or something like that. There's some sort of situation here that feels that might be feeling unfair, and maybe this rest and this break is feeling unfair to you. So that's why justice is on your mind, because you're experiencing some kind of injustice, possibly something like that. In your current situation, we have swords and coins, so ideas and work mostly and time, expenditures of time, thoughts, ideas, communication is sort of an overall. Things are changing and you'd like it to be fair is also an overall sort of interpretation of this. It looks like with this personal issue reaches resolution. I'm not sure. No, you're not going to get resolution, but you might be hoping for. There's something very unresolved in your heart. You're going to need to be patient with it. I think that's a Rumi quote, to be patient with all that is unresolved in your heart. It's true. It takes a lot of patience with ourselves. And then what's at issue here is Page of Swords. But it's in reverse. So there could be, again, I see a lack of communication because we have this Four of Swords here. And then we have this Page of Swords. A Page of Swords would normally be a clear communication, new ideas, a new understanding, new clarity that kind of changes the dynamic. It's like when you thought something was a certain way and then someone says, oh, no, no, no. They actually had just experienced, a death in their family. So they could not have responded to you. And you're like, oh my gosh, here I thought they hated me. I thought how, that they didn't, whatever. And then you get this new piece of information that makes it all clear what happened. And it's all like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, I wish I'd known, it wouldn't have been like that or something like that. But you're not having that. I bring that up just simply to say that that's not what happened. You haven't gotten any sort of clarifying information. There's been no clarity here. There would normally be a message. It would change things, change the dynamic. There might be some unsettled energy. There could be normally you'd be, looking at this new idea, really exploring it, trying to understand something, getting some clarity on something and some nice clear communication, but there's been no clear communication. Whatever happened here hasn't been cleared up. You could be hoping for retribution, but in fact, you actually need to maybe understand more of the facts about the situation, more about what actually happened or what their perspective is, or there's some sort of information here that you're lacking, or communication or clarity that you just don't have right now. You could be very wounded by something that happened, really wanting revenge, but what you need is some clarity, some understanding. And I guess I'm pulling this off from this: a personal issue reaches resolution. There's something that remains unresolved here, and you're not getting the epiphany, the clarity. Sometimes when I hear people describe heaven, they describe it as a place where, despite everything, all the little trappings and what it might look like and who might be there, it's usually a place where we understand everything and we see clearly why it had to be this way, why it unfolded like this, and sort of that, this hope that there is some sort of grand plan, and it all becomes revealed, and we understand why that person stopped talking to us, and we understand why that person left our lives, and we understand, why we got fired from that job or whatever. There's like all these things that and when I hear people talk about heaven, and it always has this baseline of clarity and understanding and everything finally making sense, because we're here in this sort of muddled sort of existence where things just really don't make any sense half the time and we don't understand. So there's something, I feel like this card is here to tell you that there is something to understand. There is this nugget of truth. There is something important here that would change the dynamic and change how you see something, but you're not receiving it. You don't understand it yet. You don't see it. Yeah. In your environment, you have King of Coins. This could be the person that you're hoping for resolution with. Oh, my heater. So that heater's just going to be a little noisy, and I think we're all going to deal with it till it turns itself off here. So King of Coins here is someone in your environment. This is someone who is an investor, they're a king, so they're in charge of a lot of things. This, in male or female, they've lived very carefully, very calculatedly. They have really invested their time into certain things. They're very calculated. They're in charge of something. So this could be a boss figure if we're talking about a job that you don't understand why it went that way. And they do have the purse strings for a kingdom. They do sort of, if not completely control the purse strings for a whole group or a whole community, they're a part of that. They have a lot of resources. They have a lot of what they need. They're very much a planner, thinking about the future. This does have to do with, there's a couple coins cards here. So I always think about work situations, time situations, things we spend our time on. So, but this King of Coins has invested his money and his time very methodically and very carefully. Oh, wow. Ooh, I feel a head-to-head here. We have someone who's very intellectual, butting heads with someone who's we have someone who moves fast, butting heads with someone who moves very slow. So this king is in your environment, and look, they're just facing off. They're facing each other, looking at each other. And I feel like analyzing each other. Are these kings, did they go to war? They're looking at each other. Well, this one's looking at you, and you're looking out at your kingdom. So here's your to-do list. Your to-do list is to become the King of Swords. Looks like this communication or these truths, feeling a little defeated by them, needing to take a break from them, having had that break, having lacked any of the information that would clarify things or bring things to the fore or help you understand how you got what happened and how you got where you got. And then this is your job. The King of Swords. The King of Swords he has a very strong grasp of the truth and is a very good communicator. So this is your to-do list. Really strong grasp of the truth, very good communicator. The other thing about the King of Swords is he's very fair. He sees all perspectives. So maybe someone did share this perspective with you and you refused to look at it. You didn't want to see it. You maybe thought it was an unfair obligation for you to see the world from somebody else's perspective. But here we have this King of Swords. He's a very good, clear communicator, understands the situation. He comes with an understanding of all sides, right? He's the king of the whole kingdom. He's not, this is no Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords sees only her perspective, only what she wants, only what she thinks. And this is a great perspective to come from, especially into a negotiation or something like that. But you're not being called into that perspective or into that work. You're being called into the work of being the King of Swords, being understanding of extenuating circumstances, of other people's perspectives and truths. You know, he rules over his kingdom. He's participates in a leadership role in his community, but he's very fair. And people know that about him and they trust that about him, that this person is going to be fair to me. It's going to see my perspective and weigh it with them. You're not a judge here, but you are in a way taking a leadership role that has to do with clear thinking, clear communication, and a lot of fairness. And what I find interesting here too is you do have justice on your mind. And then here comes this King of Swords, your to-do list of being fair to yourself, but also to other people, to see other people's perspective. His sword is not typically depicted as straight up and down, which it is not in this card either. It's not straight up and down, it's tilted. It's tilted because fairness always takes into account the extenuating circumstances and the variations of people's where they come from and what they bring to a situation and what resources they have at their disposal. So the King of Swords typically he can be ruthless, but he also has a really good grasp on fairness. And that's what's on your mind is justice and fairness. But you're supposed to see everybody's perspective from this. So that can be hard. If you normally do that, that's great, but a lot of people don't normally see all the other perspectives and the whole sort of picture of what was going on. I think this is going to bring you to a place of resolution if that's what you want. So sort of instead of bringing in some harsh justice, we're bringing in a merciful fairness. And so then you're to do, and then where we go, what we do here, once you do that work to get really clear on your thinking, clear on your understanding, clear communication, once you wake up from this Four of Swords break and head off into this King of Swords energy, I think to deal with your King of Coins, your coins person, this person, male or female, that's very stable, slow moving, to deal with them or to communicate with them in a fair and equal manner. You head up, once you do that work, okay, this is Seven of Coins. This is having put the work in, and now you wait for the results. You wait somewhat impatiently, but you wait for the results. So there'll be more waiting. You have two hardcore waiting cards here. Like this is the waiting. Here you're taking a break, a time out, possibly a sickness, possibly a forced time out, possibly a break a la Friends, like just a relationship, possibly having to have gone on a break for a while, that kind of thing. There's a break, and then you sort of like you listen to both sides, you understand more of this issue, you have a very clear understanding and very clear communication about what's gone on, and then you re-enter a different type of waiting game. This one you've also put work in, and you're waiting for the fruits of your labors to show up and to be ready for picking and plucking. So an investment of time and energy, and possibly even money, and waiting for a return on that investment. So investing, I feel like, in a way, in yourself and in your own ability to see things clearly, in your own ability to be fair to others, as well as yourself, to not bring in a harsh truth, but to bring in a mercy. You know, justice without mercy is terrifying. So you're meant to bring in some sort of mercy with that justice, as the King of Swords does. And then you have to make some sort of investment, I think, here. And then you wait for that investment to come to fruition. So very exciting stuff, waiting, a time out. Then you do a bunch of personal work or communication, and then you wait. So we're reaching resolution here. I don't think we're finding it, which would be weird, right? That would be like a really super cool gift for life, that if you ever do find resolution and clarity about what happened and all of that, make sure you are very grateful for that. That is a rare gift from the universe. All right, your path. We have the Kuan Yin here, Wild Kuan Yin Oracle. Some topsy-turvy stuff on your path. I love this yak. Like, look at that face. Those eyes. And so she's on her path, which is the railroad track here. She's a little upside down. We got some unsettled energy here. Unpredictable grace. Oh my gosh, did I just not say? No, I was talking mercy, but I think grace qualifies as well here. It is not a lack of courage that makes you question the path before you sometimes. It is uncertainty. There's no need to doubt, just steps to take one after another, and as you do this, all can then unfold as it must, with the blessing of my powerful, if unpredictable, grace. So, all right, Scorpio, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes and your subscribes and your comments. I appreciate them.